What's up, Guardians? Welcome to Schwille Gaming, where you can stay up to date with Destiny content. This week was the launch of Season 22, Season of the Witch, and guys, it is off to a really good start, and I believe this is going to be a very good season. The story stuff is actually really compelling, the stakes are high, and our Guardian and the Vanguard have gone to a by any means necessary situation. The gameplay itself is phenomenal. We have two new activities that are pretty different from our normal gameplay, as well as a whole slew of new weapons and some really nice looking armor sets. Today I'm bringing to you a full guide on Season of the Witch, where we're going to talk about how to progress, as well as this awesome lore going on in Destiny right now. Let's get into it. Alright guys, welcome to this Season 22 guide. I'm going to start out by just letting the opening cinematic from the season play out, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what's happening. Check it out.
This is First Ghost and Maru talking. You're still trying to get through the Witness's portal, huh? That ain't a door you can just kick open. You even asked some leftover worm for answers. Too bad she led you right to us. Now you need help from the one witch nobody can trust. My boss, Sabbath. Even though she's temporarily dead, she left instructions for this very situation. As usual, you maggots are 3 steps behind. Savathun will help you on one condition. First, deal with her sister, Zivur Wrath. She's the hive god of war and the Witness's best general. It's a win-win, see? Don't look so sour. You've already got everything you need. I suggest you start with a witch of your own.
So obviously we know the Witness has gone into the portal and we can't follow it because if you remember in a previous cutscene, we tried to send a Guardian in and they just got completely shredded. So last season we were working with Sloane on Titan to convey Asa's knowledge through Sloane, and that led us to the conclusion that we have to resurrect Savathun because she knows how to get through the portal. In order to do that, we have to follow Savathun's ghost and Maru's directions that were left for us by the Witch Queen herself, Savathun, who by the way knew what was going to happen and planned for it. Amaro reveals to us that Savathun has already agreed to help us get through the portal, and Amaro will resurrect her, but on the one condition that we deal with her sister, the Hive God of War, Zivur Wrath. We knew this was coming, as all of last season we had to deal with Zivu's forces, and we actually got a ton of really great lore in the form of dialogue from Zivu. In order to fight her, Amaro suggests we start with a witch of our own, Eris Morn. In the cutscene that follows the first mission in Season 22, we find our Guardian in a meeting with Eris, Ikora, and Amaru. Eris speaks about how Zivur Wrath draws power from our conflict. She then says that she has to contravene its power because there is no other way. Ikora shows her concern for Eris, saying this is what Savathun wants, when Amaru chimes in with, she's outmaneuvered you again. I really enjoy the comedy here when our Guardian doesn't even hesitate to grab Amaru by the eye, insinuating to kill him. All while Amaru pathetically says, you need me, and Eris says, we need your silence. Some really awesome funny stuff here to lighten up the ongoing conflict. Eris and our Guardian then begin to commune with Hive magic that sends Eris into a transformation that literally turns her into a Hive god. As she stands back up, she tells us to bring her our tithes. One line of dialogue in the seasonal activities, Eris actually calls herself the Hive God of Vengeance, and says that the Hive magic we used bound us to her as her acolyte, and as her acolyte, we must collect tributes to tithe to her so she can grow strong enough to defeat Zivur Wrath. This is some of the craziest lore we've gotten in Destiny in a while, and I know I'm not doing it the best justice in my breakdown, but if you guys want to hear a really great breakdown of the Season 22 lore, you should definitely check out Bife's video on this. He does a great job of explaining and speculating on all of this. So now we know that our mission this season is to help Eris grow strong enough to defeat Zivur Wrath, so Amaro will resurrect Savathun so she can tell us how to get through the portal to pursue the Witness. In order to tithe our tributes to Eris Morn, we have 2 new seasonal activities we'll need to spend some time in, Sabbath Inspire and the Altars of Summoning. Starting off, you're going to want to do runs of Sabbath Inspire. Just like any seasonal activity, there are going to be a few encounters per run with a little traversal in between. Each encounter will have you take on hordes of adds while doing a few basic mechanics. Some of these mechanics include holding plates to activate, and hive crystals, which require a certain action to complete. For void crystals, which are purple, you'll need to enter the bubble around them, then break them with an attack. For arc crystals, which are blue, you will need to melee the starting one, which then you receive a timed charge buff. You will then need to find and melee the rest of the arc crystals. Your buff timer increases with every crystal you melee. And the last crystal is solar, which is orange. You will need to pick these up and carry them to their destination. Be careful though, as solar crystals scorch you while you carry them. Once you complete whichever mechanic you were given, you will have to clear the rest of the adds and mini bosses from the room, and then you can progress to the next encounter. Now between each encounter, there will be a traversal section. Most of this is pretty straightforward stuff. Just make your way through here until you get to the next encounter. What you do want to pay attention to here are the hive runes hidden throughout here, and they're colored as our light subclasses orange, blue, and purple. The color of the rune is going to tell you what damage type to shoot the rune with. Purple runes you'll have to shoot with void weapons, orange runes need to be shot with solar weapons, and blue runes need to be shot with arc weapons. I'm not 100% sure here if it has to be weapon damage or if it can also be ability damage. I don't know if one of you guys want to double check on that one for me, but if you shoot all the runes correctly, you'll be rewarded with a secret chest. Note that this only works once per week. Additional secret chests will award vendor reputation and glimmer. You actually get a good handful of some pretty decent loot from each of these secret chests, so make sure you're doing this on your first run of the week. As you continue on to the next encounter, you'll find more mechanics like plates or crystals you'll need to complete, then finish off the rest of the adds and mini bosses to move on to the next part. Next up, you'll have another traversal section. In this one, you'll end up in a room with 4 portals with 3 hive runes each above them, and you're going to need to look at the 3 runes in the middle of the room and match them to the correct door. As you go on, remember those 3 hive runes, as you will need them to continue to choose the portal with the correct runes to get through this traversal. Again, don't forget to look for those colored hive runes to get a secret chest with that sweet loot. Once you've made it this far, you're in the boss room. You're going to need to fend off adds while you work on the boss's health. When he's at about half health, he will generate a shield, and you will need to complete one of the mechanics to drop it. Once his shield is down, you can continue to work on the adds and boss until you defeat him, then claim your loot. You're going to notice a couple new items you receive as loot here. I'm going to explain the next seasonal activity, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about those new items and what they're used for. They're part of a new system this season for progression and rewards you don't want to miss, so don't change the channel, guys. Stay with me. The other activity we have this season is the Altars of Summoning. This is the activity where we'll be tithing our tributes to Eris. When you first load in, you'll find yourself at this circle of hive symbols. You'll need to find the 3 different from the rest and have your fire team interact with them. Then head to the first ritual site. When you get there, you'll see a few pillars at the opening of this area you can interact with. One of the new items you have been receiving from these activities are called offerings. There are feeble, robust, and powerful offerings. You may put one of your offerings in one of the pillars. Which offering you use will determine the difficulty of the encounter and how good of rewards you get for completing it. If you use a feeble offering, the encounter won't be too difficult and you won't get as good rewards. But if you use a powerful offering, the encounter will be pretty difficult, but you'll get even better rewards. Just like the Spire of Savathûn, there will be some mechanics you have to complete through these encounters to eventually be able to do damage to the boss. You'll have crystals to deal with that require certain actions depending on the color of the crystal, destroy for void, melee for arc, and carry for solar. And there is a group of Minotaur bosses that will occasionally go immune until you destroy the Vex lenses. While this is active, you'll also have to prevent Vex from sacrificing on confluxes. Another mechanic you'll have to deal with is killing marked wizards, picking up the tribute they drop, and depositing on the glowing plate. Some of this can get pretty chaotic, so make sure you bring your best ad clear loadouts and use plenty of cover. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So your full breakdown of altars goes like this. Your fire team interacts with the 3 different hive symbols, go to the ritual site and deposit your offerings, clear adds and DPS the boss until a mechanic starts, finish the mechanic, then DPS the boss and clear adds until you beat it, then collect your rewards. Be aware each encounter is timed, and if you do not complete it before time runs out, then you earn no rewards. Now that we have the activities down, we're going to rewind back to when we earned those new items, and I said we'd come back and talk about them. One of those items were offerings, which we used in the Altars of Summoning to tie it to Eris and earn rewards at the end of the activity. The other item you should notice you earned are called opaque cards. Opaque cards are a part of a brand new system called the Deck of Whispers. To access this, you need to go to the south wing of the helm and go through the portal. You'll then end up in an area called the Athenaeum, and here in the Athenaeum we have 2 vendors. You're going to want to go to the Lectern of Divination. Here at the Lectern of Divination, you're going to be able to see what your opaque cards do. They have a couple different functions. We have Major and Minor Arcana cards. When you earn these cards, you'll need to visit the lectern to pick them up, and they will have an objective kind of like a bounty you'll need to complete to fully acquire it. Once acquired, the card will be added to your deck. Now to use your deck, you'll need to fully acquire at least 5 Major cards. Once acquired, they will appear surrounding the Athenaeum, where you can choose which to use or not to use. Each card gives you a perk that can then be used during the seasonal activities. How do you use them, you ask? Well, when you load into an activity at the beginning of each encounter, you'll see a text above your hood that says you drew a card. This card is drawn at random from your deck of Whispers and is the perk you get active for that encounter. Now you must have at least 5 cards active, so I suggest you go through and pick your best ones so you always draw a useful one for combat. Now for Minor Arcana cards, these kind of took the place of your season bonuses menu. So acquiring these cards will give you perks that help you out through the season and help you get more and better loot. For example, Empowered Unlocking gives you an additional Witch's Engram when using a Witch's Key at the end of an activity. Now I believe you can only get so many Major and Minor cards per week, so any other cards you earn this week will yield you rewards like Enhancement Prisms and Cores, as well as Engrams and Keys. There is a secret card in the Athenaeum. If you exit the lectern and turn around and head this way, there will be a card behind this rock, so make sure you pick that up. The other vendor in the Athenaeum is the Ritual Table. This is going to be where you get your rank rewards like Engrams, Keys, and additional cards. You can also pick up bounties here and redeem or focus Engrams into seasonal armor and weapons. We have a new Void Scout Rifle, a Solar Fusion, a Strand Hand Cannon, and a Rocket Launcher. And these aren't too bad either, since our first Strand Hand Cannon and Rocket Launcher were received kind of poorly. The Hand Cannon is a 140 RPM adaptive frame, and the Rocket is a high impact frame. It does not roll with tracking or chain reaction unfortunately, but it does have some other decent perks. So I'd say these new strand weapons are definitely worth a pickup and crafting once you acquire their patterns. We also have a Stasis Sniper and an Arc Machine Gun. These are nice looking Hive themed weapons, so cosmetically they're pretty appealing as well. And lastly we have our Veiled Tithe armor set. Very Sabbathoon themed and cool, so make sure you get your hands on these too. Alright guys, that is it on this season of the Witch Guide. If you guys found anything I missed, let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited for how the story will unfold going forward, and I will be doing lore updates weekly as the story progresses. So if that's something you're looking forward to, then make sure you stay tuned. If you guys found this video helpful or enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more awesome Destiny content. As always, thanks for tuning in to Schwelle Gaming, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.